Welcome to EyE on You. Youth development is one of the priorities of the Hong Kong government. Young people should develop a positive outlook on life, commitment to society, a sense of national identity, love for Hong Kong, and an international perspective. The Hong Kong Police Force has all along been actively promoting youth development. With the mission of nurturing fight crime partners and future leaders, it founded its flagship youth organization, the Junior Police Corps, in July 1974.
Yes, JPC has over 170,000 members, making it one of the largest youth organizations with strong police ties in the world. The JPC have been promoting youth development with a view to helping young people cultivate positive thinking, aspirations to serve the community, law-abiding awareness, discipline and team spirits, while covering the development of ethnic minorities youth as well. The Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area, GBA, has been developing rapidly since the promulgation of the Outline Development Plan for the GBA. As the only common law jurisdiction within the country, Hong Kong can utilize the unique advantages under the one country, two systems and three jurisdictions in the GBA. I know that JPC will offer youth exchange opportunity in the Greater Bay Area to let participants gain first-hand experience of the opportunities in the Greater Bay Area. Today, we have our honor to invite Mr. Raymond Siu, the Commissioner of Police of Hong Kong Police Force, to tell us how the Police Force provides policy and resource support to youth engagement work and to nurture quality talents for the force. Let's welcome Raymond. Hello, Mr. Siu. Thank you. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, Eunice. Thank you, Edward. Thanks for inviting me to attend your program.
Raymond, as you know that Mr. Chen Dong, the Deputy Director of the Liaison Office of the CPG in Hong Kong, earlier visited the JPC, the Junior Police Corps in Hong Kong, and mentioned that in particular that the JPC has a history of nearly 50 years and it has trained over 1 million people already. So it has played a very important role on enhancing the rule of law awareness, the national identity and the patriotic spirit for the members. So can you tell us more about the operation of the JPC?
Basically, you call the JPC, that's the Junior Police Corps. The Junior Police Corps was established in 1974, and its mission is to nurture fight crime partners and also future leaders. And within the JPC, currently we have around 170,000 members, although not all of them are active, but we still have a lot of members. Within the JPC, in fact, we also have the JPC CAB, what we call CAB, CAB is the Central Advisory Committee. The Central Advisory Committee comprises of people like a cross-section of police officers. And apart from that, we have also invited community leaders, non-police advisors, consultants. Some of them are professionals, some of them are from the academic field. And they can, what their mission, the charter of the JPC CAB, basically they will give advice on JPC matters, okay? All sort of youth-related issues, and also they will oversee the management of the subcommittees under the JPC CAB, looking into something like, apart from the financial situations, also the publicities, activities, etc. Also the JPC itself, because we do organize activities and training to some JPC members aged from 6 to 25. Through all these activities, we wish to, nurture fight crime leaders, future leaders, and also we wish to instill positive values to these members. So these are basically the operation mode, the gist of the operation mode of the JPC.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So recently, a group of JPC members had a chance to meet with the Deputy Director Chen Dong, and Mr. Chen said that he hoped that after the epidemic, the liaison office will be able to initiate activities to allow the JPC members to learn more about the country and the national achievements. What do you think the police can help them organize these kinds of activities?
Yeah, well, first of all, we are very grateful that Mr. Chen Dong, Deputy Director of the LCPG, to visit one of our JPC centers in Taipo. During that meeting, in fact, Mr. Chen Dong, he met quite a few JPC members, JPC honorary presidents, as well as some of our PPRB officers. And we did a presentation to him, asking whether our motherland can support us on, organizing various youth activities for our JPC members. And there are 6 areas which you have earlier mentioned about how our motherland can support us. After that meeting, because Mr. Chen Dong, he shows great support to us. Mm-hmm. And I think this is something that we need, because in fact, I can see over the past 2 years, I've been talking to a lot of youngsters. A lot of them are being arrested by us. Mm-hmm. And from them, I noted that they have a very big misunderstanding on the motherland. They still think about our motherland, all sort of issues about our motherland maybe 20 or 30 years ago. But in fact, most of them have never been to the mainland. Okay, that's the problem. And they just heard some fake news, fake reports. So they have a very bad perception on the motherland. So we think that there is a great need for us to organize some youth activities in the motherland. And that's why we raised this to Mr. Chen Dong. So we are very grateful that he gives us good support. Our PPRB officers, they are in the process of liaising with counterparts of the LCPG. And we are going to organize this various sort of activities in the coming future. In particular, of course, now due to the pandemic situation, they still cannot go. But we will start the preparatory work. Once the situation allows us, then we will arrange our JPC members to go to the mainland. Okay. There are a few issues that we think we need to let them to take a look. First of all, it's about the history. Okay. Nowadays, because a lot of our youngsters, they have very limited knowledge about the history of our motherland, and also the development of the motherland, and also the technology. Mm-hmm. And finally, one thing which I think is very important is to give them opportunity to have a chat, exchange views, okay, with the youth in the mainland. This is something very important, because once I recall that when I talked to one of them, a university student, okay, she told me that there was an opportunity when she went to the mainland to have a chat with somebody, another youth from the mainland of similar age. And after talking to her, okay, she felt that, her level of knowledge is far below the youth from the mainland. So she also told me that it would be good, to allow more Hong Kong youngsters to meet the youngsters in the mainland. So this is something that I think we need to do more, not just police, JPC. I think the schools shall also arrange tour to let the Hong Kong students to take a look at those issues which I just talked about. Or even I would encourage youngsters in Hong Kong, if you don't want a fixed program arranged by the Hong Kong police or the schools, then you can go yourself to take a look, to speak to people living in China, okay, to see how they think about the country, you know. So rather than just listening to other people talk about how bad the motherland is, you know, this is no good. Go and take a look yourself.
Yes.
So in the long run, how does the JPC, the platform and the discussion forum for all the youth, can play a more significant role in the future? For example, what you have said, the GBA, the Greater Bay Area and the mainland's opportunity. How can the JPC shows to the young people that kind of opportunities?
Earlier, I mentioned that we have over 170,000 members. Okay, if they can do more, you know, they can exert a very positive influence on other JPC members. In order to amplify the JPC's influence, what we need to do, first of all, we need to enhance our JPC members' sense of pride, sense of belonging as being a JPC member. This is something that I think we need to do. Right. We have recently conducted a review, a major review on our JPC scheme itself. And first of all, we think that how we are going to enhance their sense of belonging and their sense of pride. First of all, something that we would do nowadays, because as a JPC member, they don't have a uniform. Okay, only these what we call the advanced leader will have a uniform. But that uniform is, I think both of you may not be aware how it looks like. So what we are thinking to do is to design, okay, a new set of uniform, a very distinctive uniform, a smart uniform for not just the advanced leader, but also the leaders, okay? And how we are going to enhance their sense of belonging, because what we think is that they have a role to play. Now, earlier I mentioned that the JPC CAP, the Central Advisory Committee, most of us are, well, at least 40 years of age or even older. But if we want to know what the current youngsters are thinking, we need to ask the youngsters. Is that right?
Right.
I mean, they know more about what they are thinking. So, and we need to give them opportunity to tell us, to give views, how the JPC CAP can do better, how we can amplify the JPC influence, how we can, arrange programs for the youngsters so that they know better about the motherland. They can tell us. The youngsters nowadays, they are very talented on a lot of issues. Even myself, over the past 2 years, I enjoy talking to the youngsters because I've learned a lot from them, what the other youngsters are thinking. So this is something that we can do. What I'm thinking to do is to arrange, invite some of our JPC leaders or advanced leaders to sit in our JPC CAP so that they can tell what they think to us. They can suggest what they think to us. And at the same time, by allowing them to sit in the CAP, you know, they feel that they have a reason for existence. They can give views to us for sake of the development of the JPC. So this is something that I want to do. And also we later on we will also have a new JPC youth engagement strategy, because what we want to do is to enrich our members' learning experience. Now, the future JPC activities, it will highlight the elements of innovation, discipline, exposure, adventure, and also synergy. We want to create more activities so that more JPCs can come. They enjoy of being a JPC members. Well, at least the leaders and the advanced leaders have a set of uniform. Because if you talk about the other uniform groups like the Boy Scouts, the Red Cross, etc., they have an identity. You know, by wearing a uniform, everybody knows that, oh, he's a Boy Scout, yeah, he's a Red Cross members. But for JPC, we also want that. Give more opportunity for the leaders, for the advanced leaders, give them chance to groom other members to become a leader as well. Right. So this is something that we want to do. Okay.
I observed that the age requirement to participate in the JPC was lowered from 9 to 6 in 2019. Yeah. Why is there such kind of change?
We started to recruit kids, at the age of 6, about 3 years ago. The reason for that is because we think that there is a need to instill positive values to kids at an earlier stage, to develop the sense of social responsibility, and also, to become a law-abiding citizen at an earlier stage. Nowadays, a kid age 6, they are very smart already. So there is a need to, send out the knowledge, this sort of knowledge to them at an earlier stage. Even if you don't do it, the other party, the anti-government activists, they will do it. Okay, because during the black turmoil, I recall that I have a colleague. He has a son studying in kindergarten, only K3, I think. And he told me that even within the kindergarten, his son, just because he is a son of a police officer, he was being isolated. The teachers, they said, this boy, he's the son of a police officer, asking other kids not to play around with him because he's a bad guy. So we need to do more, okay, in order to counter this sort of, action by the anti-government activists. In fact, I'm very pleased that, as I said, we start lowering the entry age in 2018, and within these 3 years, we have already got about 9,000 members, age 6 from 6 to 8. Already, we have recruited them as a JPC member. But of course, I must admit that we need to do more. Right. We are not just talking about getting the number. We need to do more so that they have a sense of pride. They have a sense of belonging, of being JPC member.
Like looking back in 2019, you have mentioned just now about the black turmoil period in Hong Kong. That is it's a very alarming period. That most of those who commit crimes are young people, and I think there are more than thousands of them. So, what programs does the police force has to cultivate the law-abiding awareness and to improve on the law-abiding spirit in Hong Kong?
In fact, when you talk about how we are going to enhance their law-abiding awareness, I think there is a need for concerted efforts by different people in the community. Cannot just solely rely on the police. What we have done in the past 2 years, in fact, in early 2020, I set up a force working group within the force. The working group itself is called the Force Working Group on Community Engagement. But I place emphasis on youth engagement because I think you have heard that throughout the black turmoil, we have arrested over 10,000 people and 40% are students. Okay, so there is a need to do more on that. Before I actually set up this force working group, I have consulted a lot of people, like different think tanks, like the Fight Crime Committee members, the lawyers, also some of the NGOs, or even I talked to some of the kids. I have got a lot of constructive suggestions on how the force can re-engage the youth. A lot of them actually mentioned that we should adopt a soft approach. What we mean by that is that we cannot just talk about arresting people Okay, after all, some of the youth, the minds were being polluted by others. As a matter of fact, I mean, most youngsters that we have arrested, they were not criminals before. So after getting all these views, I set up this working group. And what I have been doing, apart from holding regular meeting with my management team officers, I also hold regular meeting with two groups, mainly two groups of people. First of all is the school principals. Apart from the school principals, I also hold a regular meeting with the PTA, the Parents Teachers Association. What I want to do is, first of all, I want to send out a message to them, because throughout the black turmoil, there were lots and lots of fake news, fake reports, and even some of them have a question mark whether those are true or not. The school principals and the parents, they don't know. So one of the major charter that we need to do through my meeting with them is to clarify all these fake news, fake reports, enhance the transparency of the policing work, such as I think both of you can recall during the black turmoil, a lot of people saying that once the police have arrested the kids back, brought them back to the station, the boys would be assaulted and the girls would be indecent assaulted or even raped. So our meeting with the school principals or the Parents Teachers Associations, we show them the whole actual procedures. We even brought them to take a look at the temporary holding area. When we arrested protesters back to the stations, the whole procedures, how we handle them, let them know, enhance the transparency of our policing work. This is something that we need to do. And also through their platform, we also disseminate some information, like some crime prevention messages, because we noted that a lot of, as I earlier mentioned, that the minds of a lot of kids were being polluted. The law-abiding awareness is actually lowering, okay, because of this black turmoil. So we need to tell the parents, tell the schools, tell the teachers how they can help us to disseminate these information so that we can avoid the kids falling prey to crimes, either as offenders or as victims. This is something that we need to do. We keep on doing this. In fact, I'm still, even now that I'm a commissioner, I still hold regular meeting with them. This is at the headquarter level, but at the same time, I ask all my police community relation office at the district level, they need to do the same. We need to, disseminate all these information to them as wide as possible so that they know what the police are doing, how they can help to disseminate these the actual situation, not the fake news. All of us need to clarify the fake news, fake reports, etc. So this is something that we are doing. As I said, not just us, not just Parents Teachers Association, not just the schools, even the media. Over the past 2 years, I spoke to a lot of kids, including university students. They said, in particular during the pandemic situation, they, on average, they spend about 4 to 5 hours on the social media every day. So we need to do something on the social media. As I said, the information that we disseminate to the teachers, to the schools, to the parents, we also need to make use of the social media platform to disseminate this sort of information. This is something that we need to do. Everyone has a responsibility. We have been hearing a lot of people saying that we need to show concern on our young generation, our future generation. Don't just talk about it. Everyone has a responsibility to do something. If we really care about our young generation, everyone needs to do something.
So I know that the police force has different kinds of programs to attract university students to join the force. However, after the 2019 unrest, I'm sure that such works has been challenged. What will the police do about this?
In fact, you are right that we have a lot of different programs for students. Maybe I can quote two of them. Is the one of them is called PMP, the Police Mentorship Program. Okay, and the other one is the AUS, the Auxiliary Undergraduate Student Program. Okay, AUS. These two programs, in fact, these are for the university's students. If they want to know more about the Hong Kong police force, if there is a possibility that they may join the police force after their graduation, then these programs would be suitable for them. Say for the PMP, throughout the year, we have officers who were graduates of the same university. Okay, they act as a mentor. Okay, and they would arrange different sort of activities program for the university students of the same university. Okay. At the same time, during the summertime, we also have opportunity for them for the university students to join the summer job attachment to different units of our of the force. Okay, what they need to do, is to help, say, organize activities or help doing some sort of research, etc. So on a daily basis, they need to work, and we actually give them salary for that. This is the PMP, Police Mentorship Program. For AUS, we do provide opportunity for them, for the university students, even before their graduations, they can join as an auxiliary police officer. So these two programs, we have been running these two major programs for the university students for many years already. I can recall that, in fact, we did have some challenge. I recall that in, say, 2015, after the Occupy Central movement, at that time, in fact, I was the chief superintendent responsible for the human resources management. And I was actually also responsible for these two programs. At that time, after the OCM, okay, the number of applications for both programs have been significantly affected. Okay, we got much less applications after the OCM, but there were still some university students applying at the time. I talked to the students who participate in the program, and one of them, a girl, told me when I talked to them, she told me that, sir, that was after the summer job attachment. She told me that, sir, in fact, before I actually joined this program, although I do not hate police, I do not particularly like police, but still I joined the program. But after the summer job attachment, I have a very different impression on the police. Because during the summer job attachment, she had the chance to meet our officers every day, a daily encounter of our officers. She has completely changed her mindset about police. Because previously, after the OCM, she has heard a lot of fake news or something bad on talking about the police from her classmates, etc., or even from the media, the newspaper, etc. But she has completely changed, and she said, if there is opportunity, we should arrange. Well, we should create more opportunities for them to join the program and to join the summer job attachment. And this is something that I did after listening to her. Nowadays, I think we have about 200 job attachment, summer job attachment opportunities for the students, for the university students, for the program itself, the PMP. I mean, this is something that we need to do. And talking about back to the past 2 years, in fact, the number of applications, again, for both programs, the AUS and the PMP, it has dropped notably in 2020 because of the black turmoil. But that said, in 2021, I'm very pleased to see that it has increased significantly. The number of applications for both programs have increased by over 50% in 2021. So we need programs like this. We need to do more so that the youngsters, in particular the university students, they can know more about who are the police, what are the police doing, in order to safeguard the Hong Kong society.
Yes, I remember in the 1st of July this year, there is a lone wolf attack, attacking police officers in Causeway Bay, and the police officers is seriously injured. And please send our regards to him.
Thank you.
Because we need him in the police force. And it reflects another problem, which you have said just now, that there are lots of misunderstanding and some hatred against the police officers. And you have just said earlier on, some children who need to sign their parents' occupation, and they might not willing to write down police as their occupation for the parents. So it shows that there is some concern on this matter. So except that you have mentioned that there is a student attachment program for in summer, and how will the PPRB or the community relations officers be engaged more in the community so that people have a good impression on the police, on their work?
When you talk about some people still don't like police officer, if I ask why is that, I would say one of the major reasons is because of the fake news, fake reports. Over the past 2 years, there were so many fake news, fake reports trying to smear the police force. Apart from the police force, of course, they also tried to smear the Hong Kong government. So what we need to do is to tackle the fake news, fake reports. As a matter of fact, we have been doing a lot, in order to try to tackle this problem. First of all, it's about clarifying. Whenever there are any fake news, fake reports nowadays, the PPRB, they have been doing a very great job. We actually made a promise to ourselves. Whenever there are any fake news, fake reports, then we will, first of all, find out the facts, get the pulse, and then clarify, make clarification within 2 hours. And the other thing which I earlier mentioned about is enhancing transparency of our policing work. In fact, even some of the youngsters have suggested to me that we need to do more about this, because before the black turmoil, a lot of people wouldn't care, or they don't know much about the policing work. But nowadays it's different. We need to do more. And of course, and another thing that we need to do is to continue to perform our daily duties in a professional manner, so as to let more people know, let the Hong Kong people know what the police are doing. Our ultimate aim is to safeguard the security, safeguard safety of the Hong Kong people. This is something that we need to do. We have been doing pretty well, and I can share some of the stories that I've received over the past few months. And I recall that there was a robbery case a few months ago. In fact, I received a letter of appreciation from mother. The mother told me that there was a robbery case on one day involving a 15-year-old daughter, and the robber was actually quite violent. So the girl was really frightened. A report was made to the police, and our officers went to deal with to conduct the investigation on the girl. But when she went back home and saw our officers talking to the girl, she said, she was very impressed, because she said our officers were not just thinking of conducting the investigation. Our officers make very good efforts to try to calm down the girl and show empathy on the girl, before they actually did the investigation. And in fact, in that letter of appreciation, the first paragraph, the mother actually said, over the past 2 years, she had a bad impression on our police officers. But after this incident, she has completely changed her impression on police. So this is something that we need to do. As long as we perform our daily duties in a professional manner, we can change how those who misunderstood us. I'm sure that we can do it.
This is a very touching story, and this is also the impression that I always have on the police, Hong Kong police. I've listened to your radio interview on October the 10th, and I feel very deeply about the case of the 16-year-old boy. And he was very much influenced by the radical atmosphere, and then he eventually committed a crime. I'm sure that everyone agrees that young men shall deserve a bright future. So in the future, if these young men would like to turn over a new leaf, how do the police or the society, what can we do to help them to turn over a new leaf?
Yes, I do very much agree that we should give a second chance to those who committed the crime during the Black Terminal, and he shows remorse. This is something that the whole community need to do. When you talk about the rehabilitation of the youth offenders or the reintegration of the youth offenders, I can tell you that there is, in fact, a joint program conducted by volunteers of the Correctional Services Department and the police. This program, in fact, is named Walk with Youth program. Okay, in Chinese, it's 並肩同行計劃. Our targets on this program are those people who are now being detained in the correctional services institution, the CSD institutions, detention center, under the age of 30. What we do is that the ultimate aim for this program is to give them a second chance. Okay, talk to them, hoping that we would be able to reduce the if they are being discharged, they won't commit crimes again, to rebuild a positive life for them. The content of this program, the Walk with Youth program, is that we organize activities for them, such as, say, before the Mother's Day, we arrange the volunteers. Okay, they arrange the mothers of those youngsters now being detained in the detention center, to meet the mother, so that the kids can interact with the mother, tell the mother how they think, say sorry to mother, etc. And also, we have also arranged the school principals to go inside to the detention center to meet their students. Through these activities, we wish, to instill positive values to those now being detained in the detention center. So this is something that we are doing, and at the same time, I have also met a lot of detainees, youth offenders inside the detention center, In fact, just a few days ago, I met an 18-year-old boy. He was just discharged from a detention center not too long ago. He was a university student before he was being arrested by us. Now that he has shown remorse, he told me that he was being exploited during the black turmoil. Somehow he said there was also peer pressure. His friends go out, then he had to follow. Mm. But then on the ground, he said the atmosphere itself, would motivate you to do something violent. But now, when he was being detained in the CSD institutions, he has got no access to the social media, etc. Then he calmed down and he think back, and he thought he was being exploited. He showed remorse, and he thinks that who is the best to him? It's not those anti-government activists. It's not those they call the brotherhood, the 手足. Okay, the best people are the parents. Right. Okay, so now that he has come out, he wishes to continue to pursue study. I think we can help them. Mm-hmm. If we really care about them, if they really show remorse, then can we give them a second chance? I think we can. We should. Right. Everybody should. You are not just helping the kid himself. You're helping the family as well. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now that if he comes out, nobody cares about him. If he wants to find a job, nobody would give him a job. If he wants to continue to pursue study, no school will allow him, then who will be the most happy one? The other side, right? The anti-government activists. So again, I wish to emphasize that if we keep on talking about, we care about our young generation, then action, right? Do something, okay? We shall not disdain them. We shall give them a chance.
I remember that you have made a pledge in front of the public that there is 2 hours time to clarify all those fake news. But how do you evaluate the time for 2 hours? You need time to investigation. You need time to do the broadcast and to identify what is the issue. So how do you evaluate the time? It is the best time of the clarification.
Yeah, I must say thank you to my officers in the PPRB. They have been doing an outstanding job, because now that to tackle the problem of fake news, okay, we have set up a dedicated team. They work closely with the newsroom within the PPRB, basically 7 days, 24 hours. They monitor all the different media, including the social media. Whenever there are any fake news, fake reports, they will act immediately. They will adopt a 3-step approach. The first is to get the pulse, okay, and then second is to know the fact, and the third is to clarify the fake news as soon as possible. This is something that they have been doing, and very often, basically, they can succeed in clarifying the news within 2 hours. So this is something that we need to do, how people think about this. And then if we get the pulse, if we think we know how people think about this news, this fake news, then we know when we clarify, we would not just say this is a fake news. We also need to speak more about why this is fake. How people, we know, if we know how people think about this news, then we know how we can rebut it. Right. We can let people know the true facts, how we can make people believe that this is wrong, right, and what is right. Right. Yeah.
So earlier you have mentioned that the crime rate has dropped by 10% to 40% compared to the 2019 black turmoil time. And this not only reflects that the national security law has been very effective, it also shows that the hard work of the police has been paid off. And you have also mentioned that the terrorist activities have now transformed from open to underground operations. So in fact, many young people are involved in these kinds of terrorist activities. In this regard, what will the police do to tackle such problems?
Yeah, this is in fact something that we show very much concern on, because nowadays, if you just look at the overall crime situation, it has very much improved. Because since there is no big-scale public order events, all the frontline officers, they can be redeployed to the front line to fight crime, to prevent crime. Okay, that's why the general crime situation has very much improved. But of course, as I said, we do show very much concern on possible terrorist attack, like earlier Eunice mentioned about the 1st of July when there was a lone wolf attack. What we need to do, basically, first of all, we need to further enhance our intelligence network. How we are going to do it? Again, we cannot just rely on the police. Okay, every member of the public, they can act as our eyes and ears. What they need to do is that whenever they see anything suspicious, any suspicious person, any suspicious incident, any suspicious object, make a call to the police. Now, you can see, in fact, the rest of the suspected murderer of the taxi driver. This is a vivid example of how members of public can help the police.
Yes.
Because that day, apart from the lady in the Lamma Island who made the report to us, in fact, throughout the day, there were other people noting some suspicious character. Okay, walking around. When they suspected that could be the wanted person, the suspected murderer. So they made a report to the police, and eventually we found out that it was a misunderstanding. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We won't arrest him for misleading police or causing wasteful employment of police. Right. No worry about that. No worry. As long as you suspect that this is a suspect, call us. Well, you can either call you can drop a note in the NSL, the National Security Hotline, or even if it is urgent, some situation like that. If you see a suspect and you suspect that this could be the murderer, then call 999 as soon as possible. It doesn't matter whether it is eventually, if it is a misunderstanding, seriously, we would thank you, the caller, because when you talk about terrorist attack, they are not just attacking police officer. If they set a bomb, okay, they can hurt many innocent members of public. So we need to pay concerted effort in order to prevent this from happening. So this is something that we can do about expanding the intelligence network. On the other hand, of course, on the enforcement side, we need to do more. Whenever there are any major operation, then I deploy my officers to conduct high-profile police patrol, stop and search on the street. As well as I also deploy some plainclothes officers on the ground to watch out for any suspects. I also deployed some of our special tactical units, okay, to see whether there could be any suspects walking around, etc. On the enforcement side, of course, now that we conduct frequent counter-terrorism exercises as well. On doing these exercises, what I need to emphasize is that, again, when we do these exercises, this is something that we need. We make use of this to enhance awareness of members of public. So if we conduct this exercise in a shopping arcade, we also involve the security guards in the shopping arcades. When we do these exercises in the MTR stations, we also involve the MTR staff because they also need to, enhance their own awareness because they are working there every day. So by raising their awareness, of a staff who work in that place every day, then they can help us. Okay, so this is something that we also need to do. But of course, public education is also very important. So we have been doing a lot in order to educate members of the public, enhance their awareness. Whenever they see anything suspicious, how are you going to respond? How do we define a suspicious object? This is something that we have been doing. Okay, and also about how they should respond when there is a terrorist attack. What should they do as a member of the public? So we have been doing a lot of things like this in order to raise their awareness.
Thank you so much for your time, and your sharing has been very insightful. We hope that you can come back to our show next time.
Yes,
Thank you.
Please accept our heartfelt appreciation to the police force to make Hong Kong to be one of the safest places in the world.
Thanks very much, Eunice. Thanks very much, Edward.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.